Hey guys, welcome back. MTG Moxman here. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Hope things are working out exactly as you planned today and nothing got finagled or finagled. Everything's just awesome. Welcome to all the new subscribers who joined. I think there was like 5 or 6 of you today. Make sure you guys spread that word for the giveaway because that video will be sitting around for a bit. And of course, it'll be linked in this video as well. All right, boys and girls, tonight we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to do a little bit of history lesson. I know, history, right? We're going to talk about Napoleon. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're not talking about Napoleon. We're talking about Dominaria. As it is the original setting for the Magic the Gathering universe, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun tonight and just delve a little bit, just a toe into the history of it. And we'll see how the reception goes for this particular type of video. Some of you asked for this. It took me a while to set things up and do some research, but it is done. So we're going to give that a shot. And then Thursday will be a short video. There'll be no video tomorrow. Thursday will be a short video, and there'll be some arena matches on there as promised, okay? Some arena matches of my newest creations. You guys will love it. Make sure you check it out. A lot of fun. And again, it's awesome. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you hit subscribe, as it is completely free to subscribe. It doesn't hurt you at all. So just hit the subscribe button. Get it over with. Join the free giveaway and have some fun with us. That's what it's all about, guys. Bring a friend to Magic, right? Okay, so let's start off. We're going to go down here. I think it's this one that goes first. All right. A little magic here. It's going to fill the screen as you guys usually do because I want you guys to see the whole thing. Boom! So here we have a representation of size-wise of Dominaria versus Earth. So as you can see, Dominaria is about 2.5 times bigger than our planet in the realm of Magic the Gathering, the universe. It also has 2 moons. One is an artificial moon called the Null Moon, and then a small actual planetary moon. They don't really go into description to see if there's life on it or not. But when you compare it to our planet Earth, you can see Dominaria is a very big place. But not only is it a big place, actually, you know what we'll do? Hold on, we'll size this down now for you guys. How about, ooh, we'll size it down. Ooh. So when you see that, and you say, wow, look at the size of it. It just shows you, even in the Magic universe, they've even all agreed, Dominaria's barely been touched in terms of what the continents and what all the planet is about. They've only focused on certain areas of the planet. So the actual planet is largely unexplored, even in the Magic of the Universe mythos. They haven't gone that far into it. Now, in case you guys didn't know, most of the Planeswalkers that we know originate from Dominaria in some form or fashion, okay? They've come from here. As the original world is what they call it. This is called like the world before the mending, the world of 7. So there was like 7 prime worlds. This is where the center is, though, where all ley lines of Magic and Magic the Gathering connect to and bring all the worlds together. Now, there are many other realms we've learned over the years that interconnect and go further out. Some are richer in mana, some are more barren. I mean, Arabian Nights, as you guys know, was based on Earth mythos. So what they did is they actually made a plane called Rabia, which is basically based on the same stories as Earth, which is kind of funny, right? So it has everything about Ugin, how they used to rule the planet. Whereas in Dominaria's time, a lot of the time it was ruled by dragons, okay, for the majority of its life. So let's get rid of this one for a second. I want to show you another one here. We're talking about the Planeswalkers of Dominaria. And you have to understand, some of the most powerful Planeswalkers in the multiverse started right here. So let's go up to Planeswalkers. Now, these Planeswalkers are from Dominaria. Now think about this, guys. You have got NICO, Ugin the Spirit Dragon. In case you guys didn't know, NICO and Ugin the Spirit Dragon are brothers. Unlike most of the other dragons and elder dragons of the time who are bigger and stronger, Ugin and NICO were born from the same egg. Okay, where most dragons had 2 names, NICO only had NICO and Ugin only had Ugin. The other names were added later on. They added it themselves because they wanted to feel more superior. So that's NICO and Ugin the Spirit Dragon. We also have Urza. Urza created the golem below us called Karn. Karn later on came upon a spark which made him into a Planeswalker. There's Emberek, Vesna the Sojourner, Jared Carthelion, Mazarath, Tesserbrek, Liliana Vess, Jaya Ballard, Bolivar, Freyalise, Christina, Teferi, Teve Savat, Windgrace, Dryfid, Sarah, and Varam. Now, I'm going to pop this off again. Actually, wait, can we shrink it? Can we shrink it? Let me shrink this down for you guys. So, what we have to understand when you look at this, guys. Oop, I think I went the wrong screen here. Hold on. Wrong screen. Wrong screen. Let me check that again. All right. Going. And boom. Are we back to normal? Okay. Sorry about that. I think I messed that one up. So people like Sarah, it actually says you don't know what plane they're from, but she ended up here. Okay, she ended up. So they say she's from Dominaria. But there's no guarantee she was. She did create her own realm. She was an immensely powerful planeswalker who didn't really utilize her powers to her full potential. They don't talk about her going to war with other planeswalkers particularly. She wanted to help people, find refuge for people, and she wanted to be, like, you know, worshipped. People like Urza saw the threat coming from other planes like Phyrexia, and he built up defenses to defend it. So a lot of the storylines of Magic, they all come from here. All these powerful planeswalkers, they all came from here, and a lot of them are still around today in our mythos of Magic the Gathering. Some are very minor characters who got killed off in some war or another. But the greatest thing about Magic is you don't know when they will bring these characters back. The mythos, stories, comics, novels have been built up over the years, just like a Marvel universe, guys. And as Wizards advances their agenda, what they want to create for us as players, they will be able to tap into this stuff, especially with Dungeons & Dragons, which also has a 30, 40-year history and very dimensional, huge worlds to draw upon. So, now, I want to talk about something else here, and this is kind of forgotten. There are planeswalkers that get forgotten, and he was not on this list, but I knew he was a planeswalker, so I want to represent something here. Here you go, let's go. In case most people forgot, this is a forgotten planeswalker. This is DAKKON BLACKBLADE. Most people forget he was a planeswalker. He was made into a planeswalker because he had a latent spark. It was taken from him when the girl Ravina, whatever, stabbed his shadow with the sword he built for her. That sword, the Soul Drinker, drank away his shadow, his soul, and basically made him into a slave for her. So although he could still planeswalk, he could still do things, he was basically her slave. Later on, when she died, the power fell to some, like, kid, basically, which is crazy. Eventually, DAKKON fades out of existence. But to think that he was a planeswalker of immense power, and people don't really mention him that way. You know him as DAKKON Darkblade, maybe, from Legends. You may have heard him in certain things like the Blackblade that Gideon Blackblade used, right, to fight NICO BOLAS. But remember, DAKKON Blackblade was a planeswalker, and most people forget that fact. So, a little history lesson for you. Now, we're not done, but I wanted to mention that because I found it interesting that when they listed planeswalkers from Dominaria, they didn't list him. But he is from there, and he was that, so just kind of cool. Now, for the geography of what we know as Dominaria today, they have a lot of areas. You see I highlighted them all in orange. So Tezzera, Iona, Jurmara, Ateria, Spadia. Now Spadia is the kind of storyline from Forgotten Realms, right? Vinarath, Tolaria, we know is the Tolarian Academy, was a big island, right? Kaliman, right? It was part of Jurmara, but it was like its own little continent. Condor, Shiv, where Shiv and dragons come from, the Dragon Lords. Mandrea, kind of reminds you of Japan a little bit. And Verideth, which was a large island continent. So, and that's just the area that they have explored so far in Magic the Gathering. This is basically like 1/10 of that world. So, everything from, like, when I talked about where the Forgotten Realms seg takes place of Spadia, that's just one little island. It's like this on a world map. It's tiny. But that's where all these 4 empires fought and fell. Like, they lost, right? And they were killed off. I think the last one to fall was Acacia at the time. So what happened in that little particular continent was there was like 4 nations. There was elves, merfolk, the Cabal, which are humans that worship money and power, and then the Acacians, which are kind of like white knight type people. So what happened was the elves built the Thalids for food sources and like labor, okay? The Cabal invented the Thrall, okay? And what ended up happening there is the Thralls became sentient and started self-evolving. And then later on, the Thalids self-evolved to the point of sentience at least, and they killed all the elves in one day. They just all rose up because of their communal plant intelligence and wiped them all out. The Cabal fought and lost against the Thralls. The Merfolk were wiped out by Homerids, which are like these crab-like people. They came back in the Dominaria expansion in 2018. And then we had the end of that battle happening with Acacia holding off for a very long time until eventually the Thralls, Thalids, and some Orcs and Goblins just basically wiped them out. So that was the end of them. And right now, even to this day on Dominaria, On the continent of Spadia, the only thing alive are thralls and thalids. The thalids are barely sentient. They're kind of like plants just walking around. But the thralls have self-evolved to a point where, like, when Phyrexia tried to attack them, they just got so destroyed, even trying to get onto the island, that they never tried again. They said never. And they don't want to enrage thralls. Thralls have advanced to the point that if the thralls knew that there's other life outside of their little island, they would take over the multiverse. It was like this whole thing about them. So it's very, very cool. Now, this next part, which I thought was very interesting. This next part is all the sets of Dominaria. These are all the sets that took place here. So we have Antiquities, the Dark, Fallen Empires, Ice Age, Alliances, Mirage, Visions, Weatherlight, Portal, Second Age, Urza's Saga, Urza's Destiny, Urza's Legacy, Prophecy, Invasion, Plane Shift, Apocalypse, Odyssey, Torment, Judgment, Onslaught, Legion, Scourge, Cold Snap, Time Spiral, Time Shifted, Planar Chaos, Future Sight, and then in 2018, they had brought us back to Dominaria. That all happened in 1/10 of the planet. Realize what could be on this planet. And they also say because Dominaria is such a large world, there's probably a hollow center at some point where other empires and things could exist they've never explored. That planet alone has like 20 magic sets in it out of like the 90 sets we know today. It's later on that they start exploring other worlds. So the thought of Dominaria being the center, it probably still is the center as far as I'm concerned, the way they've done it. Okay? The magic ley lines all seem to connect there, and major events always seem to bring us back to Dominaria. Now, in the 2018 version of Dominaria, you notice they brought us up to, New Benalia and stuff, right? But before that, before the Urza's Legacy War, before Antiquities, with the Thran Empire, before we even get there, our major focus tonight will be on a war that happened. Okay? The Elder Dragon War was the first war, the first part of recorded history that happened on Dominaria. Now, it was started by a group of dragons. Now, there were many other dragons involved, but these are the main, instigators. We have NICO, Ugin was actually out of the fight for most of this thing. RUBRA, RAVAS, Levidius Smati, Arcades Sabbath, Chromium, and Palata Mars. Now, the war literally lasted for 10 human generations with all the dragons getting together, these massive armies of human followers, orcs, goblins, kobolds. There was wizards trying to loan out their powers to the dragon lords because, dragon's the most powerful thing, right? So you were trying to learn from the dragons how to use other magics, other powers, and they rocked like whole continents. Now, the fighting went back and forth. Ugin's power stayed off to the sidelines. He didn't join most of these fights. Same with Arcades Sabbath. He tried to avoid fighting, okay? And Chromium. Arcades was smart enough as a strategist, though, to know that NICO had to be stopped. As other dragon lords fell and were killed off by NICO, who, that's his siblings he's killing, but hey, he's taking them out. As he slowly started to conquer Dominaria and take over, he had a huge fight at the end of the war where he fought against Arcades Sabbath, the last opponent of the dragons. They had a massive battle. It was going this way or that. Then Ugin decided enough was enough, and Ugin joined the side of Arcades Sabbath. He joined into the battle. He brought his own followers, his own war machines, his own armies, and they started to turn the tide. And when they faced NICO toe-to-toe, whole mountains got destroyed. Things got blown up huge because NICO spark ignited. And when his spark ignited, he was flung from Dominaria. His armies were obliterated. But at that point, he had owned half of the entire planet. So, you notice they said half the planet? Which means he may have explored parts that are not discussed in any of the stuff we know about today. Because it said he ruled over half of the planet. So, if they say half the planet, we've only explored 1/10 of it. He's been other places. Most of the dragons probably have. And we didn't even know about it. So the idea that this was going on, and this is just one world in Dominaria. This is just one little place that all these sets have taken place. And when you look at that, when you look at the history of that, right? His spark igniting. This is what brought NICO to that point, guys. This is what brought NICO his power. And this went on for tens of thousands of years. This is where he grew in power to become this basically godlike, omnipotent planeswalker. The other planeswalkers who stood in his way, guys like Tez Savat and stuff, he killed them all, man. He took out everybody. Now, good guy, bad guy, I don't care how you want to look at NICO. He's the arch villain, of course, the series. But as planeswalkers at that time were basically gods, I don't think he saw he was doing anything wrong. If you're a god and you squish an ant, you just squished an ant. You don't care if it was an army of ants, you squished an ant. So you got to look at it from his perspective, I guess, right? Bad guys always think they're doing good things for the right reason. So I thought we'd just take a few minutes tonight and go over that. This is just the beginning tip of the history of Dominaria. Look at all those sets I would still have to go through and the history of each of those sets. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed tonight's video. I hope you enjoyed this little taste of history from Dominaria, the first real world of Magic. And please leave comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say tonight. It'd be awesome. There'll be no video tomorrow, as I recalled. I told you guys. Thursday we'll have a pretty big video. We'll have the list up, and we'll see how the comments went. And remember, please spread the word about the contest. We got to get ourselves up to that 1,000, man. I'm gunning for it. So please spread the word to everyone. Any channel you've got, spread it out there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is MTG Mox, man. Remember, bring a friend to Magic. It's awesome. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Have a great night. Hey guys, thanks a lot for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it. Big shout out to all my patrons and the new patrons joining in. You guys are awesome. Remember, just $1 a month, you can help me out. It'd be awesome. I appreciate everyone taking the time. Have a great night tonight. Bye-bye.